So I still think that Matt Ryan was pissed.
Well, I'm sure he wasn't happy. Right.
But we've heard enough over the years that and I don't want to say there's anything wrong with it. I think Tom Brady's like this. Matt Ryan's like this. You're wired to act a certain way publicly, and then you react to other things privately. And you're not going to go out there and say, I'm really pissed about that thing that guy said about me, or I'm really pissed that I wasn't in the top 10 on that former quarterback's list that he does every year. He's not going to come out and say it, but you may hear through the grapevine that he wasn't happy, and you think, why does he give a crap? But they all do. Yeah. They all do. We're all human. Right. We're all human. We all care about that stuff. And I think at some level he had to care about the idea that he comes in to Atlanta at a time when the franchise is reeling, post-Mike Vick dogfighting, post-Bobby Petrino quitting with games left in the season. The franchise is in shambles. Ryan comes in, turns it around immediately, went to the playoffs his rookie year, gets him to a Super Bowl, up 28-3, wins an MVP award, keeps them relevant year in and year out, and then suffers through multiple years of crap in the past few seasons, and never says, I'd like to, hey, you know what? He never does the Aaron Rodgers, hey, you know. Now, of course, Aaron Rodgers didn't do that until they drafted Jordan Love, and I think what happened last week, the dalliance with Deshaun Watson, was basically the same thing. It was the same cold splash of water that Aaron Rodgers got 2 years ago, and that's what made Matt Ryan say, get me the hell out of here. I really do think that's what happened.
I wouldn't be shocked. I feel like this is a little bit on like both sides, where Atlanta probably looked at it, well, you know what, maybe it's time. You know, the fact that they're willing to take the $40 million hit right now, right on the chin, not spreading it out for 2 years, I think that's another little inkling we can look at to go, no, see, they're looking to the future. They want to have next offseason to be able to max spend and really make a move. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you very much.
Hey, well done.
Excuse me, everybody. But, yes, that to me would be another inkling to say, all right, that was Atlanta's mindset. I'm with you, I think, on everything Matt Ryan said, or you said about Matt Ryan. You know, again, last year we didn't hear anything about him being angered, about talk about drafting a quarterback at number 4. You know, this year, do I think he threw like a Baker Mayfield-style fit or anything like that when he heard about Watson? No. Did it piss him off a little bit and he go, what? Yes. I mean, you put yourself in his shoes and you just go at a base level and think about it, and you explained it perfectly. Wait, I came here, kind of saved the organization, have been a stand-up guy, you know, on and off the field, done a lot of great stuff within the community, and you're going to bring this guy in who's got a very questionable, you know, recent history here? That's the guy I'm going to get replaced by? I can see you feeling a little extra disrespected by that. I can, definitely. I think you map those two things together with Atlanta's side of the story, that side of the story, and you know, and then I also got to think that some of the current events are part of this too. You know, you said it, Brady coming back, Calvin Ridley. Well, we don't have him for a year. We lose the best player on our defense, and he's like one of the few guys that actually fits our scheme. Like, we want to play a 3-4 style defense, and he's a 3-4 style kind of middle linebacker. Well, you lose him. You know, then. You know, the team you're competing with in the NFC South, they take your second-best receiver, Engage. He's gone. So I got to think the light came on there with maybe both sides to go, what? You know, and I'm one to sit here where I will disagree with you is I don't see any way in freaking hell that they can be as good as they were last year with the team they got this year. I don't see it. I don't see anything on the team that's tangible to jump on. Last year was almost a curse, the fact that they played that well and got expectations up. It really is. I mean, it's a credit to Arthur Smith, how he managed games, and most importantly, to tie it all back together, it's a credit to the freaking guy that got traded yesterday, Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's a baller. Yeah, he's not on the Chris Sims top 10 quarterback list, but he's right there on the fringe of it and still a really damn good football player. And the Colts got a better quarterback, period. You know, I hear people yesterday bringing up stats and talking about, oh, well, Carson Wentz went 27-7 last year. They're going to replace him with a guy that went 20-10, and they're just going to make it about that. And I go, what the hell do you do for a living? That you just look at a stat sheet and go, I'm going to base it off that. I'm going to base it off the numbers, but not really take into account that who the hell was on Atlanta Falcons last year? And every game was on Matt Ryan to carry the team and make magic happen. And then there's Carson Wentz, yes, who's got physical ability, but is on a team that's got everything. A top 10 defense, the best offensive line in the football, a great running back, some good receivers. I understand not great, but I mean, the Indianapolis Colts, Chris Ballard and Frank Reich got a guy here that's like a real pro and going to lead their team and going to be good in the locker room and going to be good on the field, and he is a step up from Carson Wentz as a quarterback. There is no doubt about that, and that's where I give the Colts a lot of credit for making the move.
Yeah, I mean, the best argument anyone can make for Carson Wentz is in 2017, he was on track to be the NFL MVP. Well, a year before that, Matt Ryan was
right.
the NFL MVP.
Yeah, good one.
A year before that, Matt Ryan did everything he could do to allow the Falcons to win a Super Bowl up 28-3. I still think there are some decisions he could have made in the fourth quarter, but you can't blame the collapse on him. He's very far down on the list.
Right.
I've said from time to time that Peyton Manning would have maybe audibled out of one of those plays that helped knock them out of field goal range, the last fateful sack. But I digress. I still think that Ryan is really good. He's better than Wentz, and he gives them the opposite of Wentz, personality-wise.
Right, exactly.
You know, I think that's why they didn't want Baker Mayfield. I
agree.
They didn't want Baker Mayfield unless Mayfield went in there with his wings clipped or with his horns removed, right, or declawed. I mean, whatever animal analogy you want to make. They wanted someone who was going to be humbled. And the only way that Mayfield would have been a Colt is if he would have walked through the door recognizing you didn't win, you lost, you've been thrown out, it's done. Kind of the way Carson Wentz is slinking into Washington.
Yeah.
That's how they would have taken Baker Mayfield. They're not taking Baker Mayfield walking through the door like this, like, yeah, here we go, there's a new sheriff in town.
Right.
No. They already did that with Wentz. That doesn't work. With Matt Ryan, they don't have those concerns. They got a guy who's going to be good in the locker room. They got a guy who's going to do what needs to be done. They got a guy who's going to elevate their team. What else can you ask for? I mean, the Colts were kind of groping in the dark for what's next. What's next? Wentz is gone. What's next? Jimmy Garoppolo? Yeah. Then this Ryan thing falls into their lap for a third-round pick. You get the 2016 MVP, a 14-year veteran, one of the best. He's number 8 right now in all-time passing yardage. Number 8 all-time passing yardage. They get him for a third-round pick? Are you kidding me?
You know what? I'm glad you're bringing that up. And you said all the right things. And good for the Colts and Ballard and Reich. It can continue to take your cuts until you get your quarterback. They weren't going to be shy. I agree with you 100% with the Baker Mayfield thing. It's something I even I brought up, I think, a little yesterday and talking a few other places to just go, yeah, that's a dicey situation having Baker Mayfield follow Carson Wentz. You got to think about the political angle a little bit if you're running a football team, because that can get you fired a little. And you mess up, and it's perceived to mess up with Carson Wentz in Indianapolis, and then you bring a guy that's got, again, a similar track record or history to Carson Wentz where we're not sure about the guy in the locker room and the plays all over the place. If it doesn't work out well, everybody's going to go, what the hell are Frank Reich and Chris Ballard doing? Now they take a chance on that guy? We saw what happened in Cleveland. It's just like Carson Wentz did. What did they think was going to happen there? That, to me, is where it was dangerous and dicey, to your point. Now, to your last point, Mike, I'm glad you went there. I still... I don't know. I mean, I know I'm stupid. Whatever. I'm blonde. I'm from New Jersey. I went to Texas. It's the trifecta of stupidness. I'm still surprised about the third-round pick, too. I am. And not that I thought they were going to get a huge haul here, but I was surprised with the fact that no money put out there, anything like that, and it still was just a third-round pick for a player that – it is a game changer. There's no doubt, and knocks them up into a different category of powerhouse in the AFC with Matt Ryan at quarterback. And that's when I don't get. I don't get how they pulled it off for a 3. I really don't.
Well, and I think it's simple. The
Lack
Falcons
of options.
had to do it by 4. They had to do it by 4 o'clock yesterday, or they were stuck. And who else was out there beating on the door to try to get Matt Ryan from the Colts? Who else would it have been? I mean, I don't know that. See, the Panthers are desperate for a franchise quarterback, but I don't think they're desperate for one who's going to be 37.
Exactly. It's a different
May.
situation. Right.
Yeah. And even if the Falcons would have traded him to the Panthers, and there's no reason to think they would have, I think they had limited options. They had to get it done yesterday. And, they could have kicked the can again on that roster bonus, but Matt Ryan already did it once. I just think that at some level, Matt Ryan, through his agents, driving a pretty hard bargain here. Going back to last Thursday, you want 4 more days for your roster bonus? Fine, but I'm out of here either way. You got to trade me by Monday at 4 o'clock. Or I'm not agreeing to it. So I need your word right now. I'm traded by Monday at 4. See, that's the thing. They may have written that check while they thought they were going to get Deshaun Watson.
Right.
They're the biggest losers in this Deshaun Watson thing because they didn't get him and everything that would have gone with getting him still happened.
Right.
It's not like the Browns where they get him and they knew they were done with Baker Mayfield. The Browns would have been the big losers if they didn't get Deshaun Watson because it was falling apart with Mayfield if they got him or not. For the Falcons, it fell apart with Ryan, even though they didn't get Watson. What a mess. And with the Colts, now let's look at the Colts. We showed the odds there.
Yeah.
Their odds improved, but still, they're in the AFC.
Yeah.
Like, how much better does this really make them relative to? And I was listing the teams yesterday. 13 contenders out of 16 teams now in the AFC. The only teams that need not apply are the Jaguars, the Texans, and the Jets. I feel bad for those 3 teams because the other 13 are all contenders. And by getting Matt Ryan, the Colts move themselves into that category. But it's not going to be easy. They got the Titans in their own division.
No.
They got all these other great teams. The AFC West top to bottom. The AFC North top to bottom, because I'm not going to write off the Steelers even with Mitch Trubisky because they're the Steelers, folks.
Sure.
You got 3 teams in the AFC East. Good luck getting a spot in the playoffs in the AFC this year.
No, it's going to be tough. I mean, there's no question. The one thing I think you can look at a little bit with maybe the AFC that I would question and where I'd go to the Colts and go, yeah, they got a chance, is the fact that I do think the Colts are, what I look at is one of the few teams that's really has a chance to be a complete team in the AFC. The AFC to me has got a lot of we got the quarterbacks. We got this one great unit that's really awesome. You got to stop Joe Burrow and our weapons or Mahomes and our weapons. The rest of our team is good, not great, but we put you so much pressure on you with Josh Allen and the weapons, Mahomes and the weapons, Burrow and the weapons, where the Colts are going to go, no, we're going to run the ball, and we got a quarterback, and our defense is top 10-ish, and we don't need to just do it with our quarterback and the weapons. And to me, that's where, again, the AFC is deep like that, but there's not a lot of teams that jump out like that to me that have the totality of team right now. And to me, that's where the NFC's got the advantage a little bit. I look at the Rams, the Bucks, and the 49ers, and they go, there ain't no team like that in the AFC. There's none that you can just look at and go, they got everything except maybe the 49ers and the quarterback question, but you go offense and defensive lines, awesome. Star players at important positions. So that's where you can look at maybe a silver lining if you're a Colts fan or even on the Colts. The fact that you can go, wait, we can play team football here and win different ways. We don't just have to have our quarterback play awesome and make magic, and if he gets a little cold or we can't pass protect, then the game falls apart.
The Colts now go from Andrew Luck to Jacoby Brissett to Phillip Rivers to Carson Wentz to Matt Ryan, and they're in this short-term mode.
Yeah.
Pete has suggested to me that maybe we could blame Jim Irsay because he gets involved. I don't know that I'd blame Irsay
I think you can
for
blame
this. I think
Andrew
it's
Luck.
Circumstance. Andrew Luck would still be the quarterback right now, right?
They had a top 5 quarterback. They had one of the best quarterbacks in football. I mean, they got thrown the biggest curveball in the sport over the last 5 or 6 years. Chris Ballard, he probably took the job going, wait, I'm going to the Colts. I don't even got to worry about quarterback for the next 10, 15 years. This is awesome. What? I'm losing my quarterback? Yes, that's a huge deal. That's an organizational game changer there with losing Andrew Luck. So that, to me, is what I look at as number one thing that's made life hard on them here the last few years.
And instead of doing the let's go get a rookie and start over, they have been trying to tread water and remain contenders. And hey, 2020 with Phillip Rivers.
Yes.
They went into Buffalo and gave the Bills everything they could handle. Last year was a disappointment for a variety of reasons. Wentz wasn't as good as he needed to be. Wentz was injured early in the year. They had some key losses that kept them from getting to the playoffs.
Right.
You boil it down to Week 18, you go into Jacksonville to take on a Jaguars team that is playing for nothing, has 2 wins. They have an interim coach who's got no shot. It's not like, hey, if we win this game, Darrell Bevel's going to be our coach next year. No.
Yeah,
and the Colts lose that. That was a low point. That was as low of a point for the Colts, considering they get to the playoffs if they win. And they were the team that no one wanted to see in the playoffs.
Right.
Normally, no one did see them in the playoffs. But they're built to be successful. You hit the nail on the head.
Thank you.
This is a team that is built to be successful in January. They just have to get to January. And with Matt Ryan, they're more likely to get there.
Yeah. But
even though there's 13 contenders in the
yeah.
AFC.
Yeah. No, I yes. They're going to have to play team football. They're not going to be Joe Burrow or Mahomes or Josh Allen, where it's going to be, we're just going to rely on our quarterback to make a little magic to get us through some tough situations. No, they're going to play it by the book. Matt Ryan's going to get you in right plays. Oh, wait, you're playing pass defense. Here's the run with John Taylor. Oh, here's run defense. All right, I'm going to get to one of these passes Frank Reich taught me about. And then, they just got Yannick Ngakoue on the defensive side. I mean, they're so close as a football team. They really are. And, to your point, Mike, you're right. I mean, we looked at them in week 14, in that area, week 13 to go, whoa, watch out for the Colts. They can do a little bit of everything. They can kind of match up with all styles of football, and they're built for the playoffs. Well, they can make a run, but then that, like you said, it was the last game of the year. The week before that, to me, was just as bad. And, of course, that was the COVID missed week practice for Carson Wentz. And then he did not play good against the Raiders, missed some wide-open receivers in some big moments. So you hit it right. But this is a team that, yes, I think has dabbled with these, older veteran guys to what you're saying. Because they look at it and go, wait, we're kind of in the window. We're ready. And they were dangerously close with Phillip Rivers. Last year was close as well, didn't get in. I think this is the guy now that you go, they got as good a chance as ever to be in and really be a player in the AFC and make noise in the AFC playoffs.
And I think at the end of the day, the AFC is going to come down to a lot of the things that no one can control. Injuries, bad calls, which also mean good calls for the team that benefits from the bad call, weather, just weird factors. It's going to be something, and this is going to drive coaches crazy because jobs may ride on these things you can't control. But when you have that many teams that are packed together and it's time to go play games one week after another, and we're going to be treated to some awesome games this year, you're going to have factors beyond the control of the coaches and the players that determine who wins some of these close games, who ultimately stacks up enough wins to get in, and who is left picking up the pieces and worrying that they're going to get the pink slips when early January, it's actually now mid-January with 17 games and 18 weeks rolls around. So that's exciting for us, but it's got to be maddening and frustrating and confounding for the people who know all this work, all this effort, all this planning, all this stuff that they're going to put in, their fate is going to be determined by something other than what they do and how they do it.
Yeah, and you're right. Unfortunately, that's what it comes down to in football sometimes. It's just a little bit of the bounce of the ball, staying healthy. Yes, being a little lucky with the things like you said that you can't control and hope that works out in your favor. It's going to be close. I mean, no, in the AFC, it's with these quarterbacks. I mean, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of drama this year in that conference, and it's going to be awesome. The max exodus continues. It's like the NFC has got a disease, and the star players know about it, and nobody else does. And they're like, we got to get to the AFC. This NFC's got a bad disease. It's probably called Tom Brady and the Bucs, where they're all like, oh, the hell with that.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.